down before him.
Kneel down before him.
Worship and adore him.
Worship and adore him.
Come on, say it again. Come. Let us.
Sunday in Savannah is just like Sunday in Atlanta, New York, New Orleans, Yamoussoukro, Yazoo City, Minneapolis, or St. Paul for that matter. There is no more important day in the North American black community than Sunday, and worship is a central practice. The purpose of the Bridging Project is to engage laity and clergy of the St. Paul, Minneapolis district in envisioning ways that we might revisit the historical aspects of worship in the African Methodist Episcopal Church while trying to envision new contemporary means of worship.
And we are trying to reassess the quality and condition of our worship service in the AME church.
The Bridging Project is a cooperative project among the 9 churches of the St. Paul, Minneapolis district of the African Methodist Episcopal Church. And the purpose of the project is for us to engage laity and clergy in theological reflection, to talk about God. We wanted to look at the traditions that exist already in the African Methodist Episcopal Church. And we also wanted to have some critical conversation to really explore how we can connect those traditions, but envision them to also include contemporary ways of understanding worship, so that we could really engage the young people of the congregation, but also offer an opportunity for those more mature persons to be able to hear God speaking in new ways in the 21st century.
You know, we talked about youth this morning. This is not all about youth. This is about how to bridge.
So have a new vision for those traditions that help young people be able to experience worship in new ways, and also celebrate those ways that older members of the congregation.
When it stops individually, we all have to come in with a mind made up to worship God if we're going to be the only ones saying anything. You got to have your mind so made up. If everybody's silent through the whole service, I'm going to give God glory. I don't know what he did for you, but I know what he's doing for me. And what he's doing for me warrants praise. Number 2, once we do it individually, then collectively, find you not only a prayer partner, but a praise partner.
For the Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silent before him.
Things that they experience in worship and have for years, but really don't have any idea what is it for, or things they would like to see come back. So this is your opportunity.
I mean, worship is holistic. It involves the visual, it involves the sense of taste, smell, it involves a lot of different components. And one big piece of this project is we've looked at the aesthetics of worship, the actual sanctuary, and how can we bring in more pieces of visual art, because that's so much a part of who we are and our traditions, and it's a part of our theology and a part of our ethos and worldview. So we want to really celebrate the African tradition. So one of the things we're doing is through banners that where we use African fabrics, and we wanted the banners to be very celebratory and very exciting, so that when people see them, they feel free to praise and to worship and enjoy the beauty, because aesthetics are very important in worship. The visual arts, just like we enjoy the music and the spoken word, the visuals are also very important.
Let
talking about worship, one of the most important things we wanted to do is the things that people are very familiar with, like the Lord's Supper. That was our first session, because it was a way for us to really talk about the covenant that we have with God and that relationship with Jesus. So often, newcomers to the church have no idea if they've never been an active part of the church. They don't know what the Lord's Supper is all about. And there are people who have been there for a long time that also don't know what all the different elements are about. We have the things printed in books, but they don't know what all of that means. And so they come through the line. It's another meal, and they partake of the bread and the cup, but they really don't know because they haven't taken the time, and sometimes the church rushes through it. The purpose of the Bridging Project is for us to engage everyone in the congregation, not just those who are in traditional leadership roles or clergy, but also the laity. It's about our liturgy. It's the work of the people of the church to understand more about worship and how everything we do, the music, our Lord's Supper, spoken word, preaching, everything that we do is about worshiping God and helping people understand that each and every one of us is involved in that process. It's not just about one person. I think when we first started talking about workshops, people envisioned that they would sit down, somebody would just totally lecture to them, they wouldn't have any conversation, but this is all about critical dialogue. And when I say critical dialogue, it's more than just talking to one another. It's dialogue where we communicate with one another, we reflect with one another, and then we collectively decide on some actions that we're going to take. So that each step of the way, we can look at what the next step is going to look like so that they have input into it. From the communion workshop, our next session was the ministry of music. Our music ministry workshop was so powerful. Presiding Elder Ann Byfield came in from Indiana, and she's a musician and she's a minister. But one of the most powerful things she talked about was how important it is for us to really understand who the audience is for all of our worship and for music. That the musicians and the choir are not there for our entertainment. We're all a part of this huge worship of God. And that as we participate with the choir and as the choir ministers to us and worships God, we're building a bridge to God. She talked about the worship up to God and God talking to us, bringing the word back to us, and that how it all connects right in the middle. That was such a powerful vision for us. And that one person in the workshop said, this is the first time I've ever been to a music workshop that didn't focus on us just learning new music, but talked about the relationship between worship and the music ministry. That it's a powerful way of bringing healing and deliverance and communication with God. It's not just about us singing a bunch of songs and is everything on the right key, but are we truly worshiping through the music? Understanding worship so that we can meet Jesus again as if it's the first time, to really feel God's presence and to be able to walk away and celebrate even beyond the church, because worship is about their lives, about how they go about being who they are. And some are starting to discover that for the first time, and it is so powerful for them to feel that they carry worship with them. They celebrate together on Sunday, but they carry that worship out into the community as a part of the work of the people of God.